Well, welcome everyone to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross, where we are your resource for education, connection, and collaboration to support you on your wellness journey. And I would like to start by thanking our sponsors, Elisabeth Denizot of Nurturing Strides and White Sands Premier Travel. These sponsored appearances is what makes Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross possible. So, like many others, Elisabeth has once faced with deep distress and depression due to workplace challenges, but instead of quitting, she discovered Equine Gestalt Coaching, which led her to a profound awakening of her inner strength and voice. Welcome, Elisabeth, to Mindful Mondays.
Well, thank you very much, Laura. So happy to be here with you.
Yes. So tell me, what was that defining moment that led you to pursue the Equine Gestalt Coaching, and how has this shaped your personal growth journey?
Yes, so just like you said, I was in a very challenging situation at work. And even though throughout my life, um, I've done personal development, I was not at the time working with someone in particular. And I knew there were people I could reach out to, but for some reason it didn't feel right. And um, one day, upon opening the newspaper, I saw a title that said yoga with the goats,
Mhm.
and goats and yoga. So I read, and at the end, it said that the goats and um, the space was rented from an equine Gestalt coach. And I thought, oh, that's interesting because it's been a long time. I've been disconnected from horses, which have always been a life passion for me. Um, so I thought, well, what do I have to lose? Equine coach, I need that. The word in the middle, Gestalt, I'd heard of it, but I was like, who cares? It was a little nebulous. As long as there is a coach and a horse, it's good enough. And that's how I found myself um, in a round pen with a horse and a coach.
Nice. So you said, you've always been so did you grow up around horses, or is just something that you've always been
Um,
attracted to them?
Yes, I had always been attracted to them. And then as a young teen, I begged my parents, I said, could I have riding lessons? And they said, all right. So I started riding horses in my young teens, way into adulthood, pretty much until the time when I moved over to the US. And I loved riding them, but even more so, I loved being in their presence. And it was like I always felt that there was more to them than riding them.
Right. And that's just something you kinda always felt. So how do you explain that connection between horses and humans and human healing to someone who might, be skeptical of that approach, or how that feels like?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Some people are really uh, puzzled. It's like, wow, what is there? So when we think about it historically, man and horse have been intricately um, tied together, and horses were first, used for war or work in the fields, etc. But that bond has been felt for a very very long time, and for some people intuitively felt. And now we have more science around it. There is an institute in California called the Heart Math Institute,
Mhm.
and they have measured the vibrations that emanate from a horse's heart. Because as we all know, I mean, our hearts are beating, vibrations are happening. Horses' hearts are much bigger than ours, and what has been observed is that those vibrations reach out up to 2 feet. And what happens when a horse and a human are present, a phenomenon called co-regulation is happening, which means that that slower heartbeat of the horse is actually impacting us in a positive way, like slowing us down as well. Um, so scientifically, there is more and more that we are learning about what's happening.
Yeah.
And in the realm of equine gestalt coaching, where horses are true partners, they are not tools. They really are partners on equal footing with the human coach. Even better because they never get it wrong. What's beautiful is that horses really want to help us out.
Hmm.
As we all know, horses are prey animals, and for them, what's paramount for them is their safety. There
Right.
are predators out there, so when all is calm on the prairie, it equals safe. When something changes, it becomes challenging. It's like, okay, there's potential danger. Now,
Right.
that change can be due to a bird or a bunny in the bushes, but it could also be a predator. So, horses love harmony so much that they want to guide us to achieve it. And when they are in our presence, that peace that they like, if we want to equate it to the analogy of the peacefulness in the prairie, what they feel within us is whether we are aligned, whether our mind, heart, gut are in the same space or whether they're not. And I don't know if you will agree with me, Laura, but us human beings, we tend to live up here a lot, don't we?
We live a little too much in our head. We do. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Yes, our
amazing the
heads
way
rule.
they,
So horses will show us, with their bodies, with uh, where they position themselves, um, whether we're aligned or not. If we're aligned, they love it. They love that energy, so they're drawn to us like magnets. But if we're all over the place and letting our mind, our brain rule, then they typically withdraw. They're like, I have, you're not safe, and I have no idea what you're doing up here. Your gut is talking to you. Why
right.
aren't you listening to the real deal?
Yeah, that is true. Now, you though had some experience with horses, so you didn't have the fear or anything, but can you describe maybe what your initial feelings and thoughts were when you had your first session with equine gestalt coaching?
Oh, yes, indeed. There was no fear for me there at all, because I have, I had that experience with horses, and um, what was fabulous for me was indeed being reconnected with a horse and a coach, because from the two of them, what I got was full attention. I was feeling truly seen, truly heard. It wasn't about um, anything superficial. It really was. I was feeling seen through, and it was like the space was being held for
Hmm.
me.
Okay.
And my aha moment happened in that session when my coach asked me to walk. So I was in the round pen with her mare, and my coach asked me to walk the way I walk when I'm at work. And instantly my posture shifted. My head dropped, my shoulders got rounded, and I was in the middle of the round pen, and I made my way towards the pipe corral, really in an attempt to make myself small. If
Hmm.
I could have disappeared into that pipe corral, that would have been really what I wanted. And the mare in the middle showed, she just stood there. And then my coach told me, now walk the way you really want to walk. And I was like, the way, yeah, you really want to walk. the way you walk when you're at your best. And for me, it had been months of feeling depressed, withdrawn.
Mhm.
But uh, upon hearing those words, there was a response from my body. I'm naturally someone, I'm pretty enthusiastic, and I felt it in my body, and I felt the impulse to dance. And don't get me wrong, I am no dancer,
Don't
but
have to be.
yeah, so how it showed up for me was skipping. I started skipping left and right and left, and I heard my coach say, "Have you ever danced with a horse?" So I chuckled, and she said, "Well, look behind you." And when I turned around, I saw that her mare was accompanying every single one of my skipping movements. And to me, it was such a validation that that light, which I thought was extinguished, was actually rekindled, and that it had never died altogether, even if it felt that way. Um, so it was so powerful when you have such a majestic and imposing animal.
Yeah. I can only
She was,
imagine because that is like a natural connection and a natural reaction. I mean, that's not like that's something you can, fake or put out there. That was just something that naturally happened.
oh, absolutely. It naturally happened. She felt like when I was first walking around, like that, she was like, that's not it. And the minute I felt in my true self, um, she picked on that. She felt it in her own body, and for her there was no down. There was the alignment. Previously, I didn't look, safe to her. She didn't understand. That meant nothing to her. So it was so very powerful.
Yeah. So, in what ways do you believe the intuition of horses contributes to the coaching process? I
Oh,
mean,
a lot, and I would say it contributes a lot because of the method that I use. That nebulous Gestalt word in the middle is actually a modality, and more than a modality, it's a way of life. It's learning to live life in the present moment, not up here in our heads where we project into all sorts of catastrophic scenarios. So in the present moment, non-judgmental, and listening to our gut feeling, listening to what our bodies have to say, because our bodies never lie.
right.
Our minds take us places, but our bodies, and we all know it, all the gestures we make when we're not aware we're making them, uh, they're spontaneous, they're organic. And this is the way horses live their lives. They live connected to their gut feeling at all times, again, because of that safety that we
Hmm.
mentioned earlier. They're non-judgmental. They don't care, we can have all the titles we want or all the beautiful clothes we want. That's
They don't care.
that's not gonna impress them.
No.
And yes, living in the present moment. They're not thinking, oh, Jesus, she's gonna bring me my hair later. Or is my two horses, one is younger and he tends to go get the other one who, she's like, been there, done that. So when he bugs her, she sends her the signals, puts him back in his place, and then they go back to grazing together. They don't, she's not there thinking, geez, he's already ruined my whole morning. He better not do it again this afternoon, because then, that's bad enough as it is. They don't go there. If he
No.
does it again, she deals when it happens.
Yeah, they're done
So,
with it because it's
uh,
in the past.
yes, yes. So that connection is really, intuitive, organic for them, because the way I function with my clients is uh, I connect them to their body, out of the thinking mind. And when the body speaks, when the emotions are present, because our emotions are our truth.
Mhm.
Again, when we're in our mind, we can make up all sorts of stuff, but our emotions are our truth.
Yeah.
So, uh, horses respond to that because it's the real deal. There is no faking there. There is no manipulation, uh, which is something I've been hearing quite a bit from my clients, those who have experienced talk therapy, uh, which of course is a very much needed modality, but very different from what I do. They tell me how what they feel when they are in an analytical session. They feel they can guide the session wherever they want it to go. And some people have told me, when I don't really feel like doing the work, I just take it in some other direction. Whereas with you, I can't do it, and that's
Mhm.
what makes a big difference, because we can't make our bodies lie.
Right. Yeah, we may think we're pulling it off or telling somebody something, but normally someone else can see it all over
Yes,
you.
and we may see it or not in other human beings, but horses don't miss it. For them, it's clear. It's like, no, nope, not aligned. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's uh-uh.
So can you maybe share a specific story of how equine gestalt coaching had transformed a client's life and what makes that approach uniquely different?
Yes, yes,
Effective.
yes, absolutely. An example that I really like, also because it shows that people come to see me for all sorts of reasons, not just trauma per se. Um, Even if, I always like to do a little, reminder here that trauma is not what happened to us.
Right.
It's what happened inside of us as a result of what happened to us. So anyway, I'm working with someone who came to see me because the situation at home between her and her partner is not going great. She feels that the tasks are not spread evenly, and she's not managing to express herself and get things to change, and that's weighing her down. So I set up Gestalt is experiential, so we don't sit there talking about that situation. I put her in a little experiment, and when she arrived at action point, my mare, who as a high introvert knows to be fully present but likes to keep her distance, nudged her. So that was really interesting. So I asked her, what happened there? And she said, well, I did what I always do. I have great plans of how I'm going to approach the situation, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then when it comes time to actually speak up, I freeze and I go in my head, and I'm like, no, it's just going to make things worse. Just be quiet. Don't say a thing. Things are gonna sort themselves out. Or sometimes I just get resigned, like it's never gonna change, and who cares? It's whatever it is.
Right.
And it was so powerful for her to have that nudge. Go, do it. And for getting such an indication from such a big animal, you just don't forget it. And things indeed started to change for her for the better.
Yeah,
That
and like you said, so many of us get stuck in our head. We play those scenarios to death in our head, and then sometimes we just never speak them, and sometimes people keep them bottled up, or wind up with anger, or just more stress, and just because we never did speak up. But
Yes,
obviously,
yes,
yeah,
yes. And what you're actually bringing up, Laura, is crucial, because indeed we do that. We repress. And when we repress our emotions, when we don't speak what's true for us, we get ourselves sick.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then we don't live, we know inside of us that we're not living, that we're not being true to ourselves. It may not be such a clear, in such clear wordings, but we know we are off, and we can't fully be who we are. We're only showing a minute portion of who we are. And this is what really is my passion, is this work. In this
Yeah.
work, it's the knowing that it's possible to restore that the light, just like for me, the light is there, and there are tools we use, strategies, and of course the precious alliance with the horses. So it's possible, and I know that everyone is on this planet to shine their light, to bring what they uniquely have to bring. And it's my passion to help people unearth all this, because it's there. It's there. And sometimes it takes more digging, sometimes it's more of a dusting, but it's always there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I was just saying, you can tell how passionate about it. And like you said, you've had that feeling, and it's got to be powerful for you to be able to see others get that same release and the same feeling as well. And I
Oh,
know we have a
totally.
lot more to talk about and the common misconceptions that people have about equine gestalt, but we do need to take a quick break from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
We got soul, oh yeah, we got soul. Feeling good, let it loose, set it up, move them free. Little fun never hurt no one. Hey, you go. Little fun never hurt no one.
So, Elisabeth, I'm sure there's a lot of common misconceptions about the work that you do. How do you address them with new clients?
Yes, yeah, this is correct. I am often told, oh, so, there is the being scared of horses that we kind of broached on.
Okay, so we had a little speaker issue there. So let's start that one over and tell us what the common misconceptions are that you get about Gestalt coaching, and how do you address them with your clients?
Oh, yeah. So, one of the first things is being scared of horses. And I tell people it's a good thing to be scared of such a big animal, that they don't have to be on the same side of the fence as the horse. And typically, what happens is that when people are brave enough to give it a try, they actually realize that the horse, that they're not scared anymore. That's happened so often that people come see me and they leave and they say, now I'm not scared of horses anymore, because they get such gentle attention from the horse and they feel that deep anchored presence. So for those of you who are listening, if you're scared of horses, but are curious about the experience and want to give it a try, don't let that scare you, because again, you can be on the other side of the fence and chances are you're actually going to feel very different, and you're actually going to be wanting to spend more time with the horse. So it's totally worth giving it a try. uh, Third solution is also to, you know, I'm a Gestaltist. I can
Mhm.
work with you without the horse, and get excellent results too. So don't let that deter you from experiencing this amazing modality.
Well, and just so people are clear, you protect the horses as well as people. So it's not like you're just walking into a corral and there's nothing between you and the horse, right?
Yes, yes. First, I always do what we call a safety demo, and I like to call it an awareness demo because I tell people a little bit how horses function because they're prey animals and they are wired differently than we are. So once people know those elements, how to go around the horse, what to do, not to do, what to observe, they already feel much more comfortable. Um, and then I am present with my clients throughout the session. And if I deem it fine that they are by themselves with the horse, they are. Otherwise, I'm right there with them. And things shift throughout the session because just like you're saying, I'm protecting the horse as
Mhm.
well. And if someone was to come up with a big emotion that needs some release, I'm not going to let that happen in the same enclosure as the horse. So it happens, I would say, I don't know if it's regularly, but it does happen that I walk the person outside of the round pen. We take care of what is happening for them, and then we rejoin with the horse.
Nice. Yeah, so you really do create a safe space for the clients, that way they can open up. And because I'm sure if they're all tense and worried about the horse, they're not going to be very relaxed to open up with
Yes,
you.
yes, absolutely. And also because I connect them to their body, once we're connected to our body, we become oblivious of our surroundings. So another misconception is that we ride the horses. So horses are not ridden in this work. There are situations, modalities, therapeutic riding, where riding the horse is obviously what is needed, but not in this case. So people will not get on the horse. And another, not really a misconception, but people ask me, so what are we going to do? Am I going to be petting the horse for the whole session? And it's not really a misconception because it can happen that indeed touching the horse is what is needed. Some people ask me, I'm going to be brushing the horse. It could happen that because of what is unfolding for that specific person, that I give them a brush or I invite them to touch the horse, to make contact with the horse. But this is not the essence of what I do. And I think you all will have understood it with the couple examples we gave earlier, whether it
Mhm.
was me, you know, walking, following what my body was telling me, or the experiment I had set up for my client. So,
It's really
yeah,
individualized. It's just depends on the person, what they're going through or what they're trying to break through.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's very individualized. And if indeed it's needed for the person to stand there next to the horse and touch the horse, we will go there. But it's not a petting farm. That's where I want to make the distinction. It's not about just standing there with the horses and waiting for something to happen, even though just doing that is
It can.
extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Just like you saw in that little short video, short commercial, horses feel what you feel.
Yeah. And even if you don't want to admit what you feel, I'm sure they can tell what you feel, even if you don't want to admit it.
They totally do. They
Yeah.
totally do. And that makes me think of another situation where I was working with someone who was exhausted. It was even painful to see and to feel. It almost felt to me like when the time would come to walk in the round pen with the horse, she wouldn't even be able to get up from the chair. So But she was telling me how she was pushing through. It's like, she got up.
Hmm.
And for as much as I, was telling her, yes, there's times when indeed we need to push through. It's now it's a matter of balance. And if you don't respect what's going on for you, that need that you have to rest, which is, it's so obvious, it's transpiring. Um, you're just gonna collapse. That this is really what was coming up for me. And she was like, yeah, I know I am so sleep deprived, I really need to sleep. And what happened, and man, that changed the whole physiology. And just as she was saying this, one of my horses, Casper, who was in the round pen minding his own business, he always looks like he's doing his own thing and not paying attention. He walked up to um, close to us. So he's still on the other side, or we are on the other side of the fence,
Hmm.
either way. And he lay down, he fell asleep, he snored.
It's like he'll sleep for her.
Yes, yes, he was showing her, and we call this pantomiming, when they actually act out what is going on for us. And that's, of course, whenever that happens, it's always, you know, pretty striking, pretty phenomenal. It's like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
This
that had to
horse
be an
is showing
incredible
me.
experience. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. It's yeah. Recently with somebody else, she was telling me how she, and the setup was a little different. I was actually out in pasture with her and the horse, so
Hmm.
depending on the situations, etc., it can be a little different. And she was telling me she needed to run, and the same one who
Casper.
was just grazing and seemingly not paying attention comes at a high trot, runs around us once, and takes off.
Wow.
Yes, I know. You have to be there to believe it, because it
Oh, you
feels.
you describe it and I can just see it in my head.
Oh, you
I'm
can
like,
see it.
that's got to be incredible. So, obviously I would say that there's got to be a lot of emotional awareness that plays in the healing process when you're facilitating by horses.
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. And emotions really are our tools. I don't know, you probably know people who walk through life apparently emotionless. It's kind of like you meet them and it's a steel door.
Hmm.
There's no reaction, no nothing. Um, it's not uncommon for people to be scared of their emotions and to repress them, uh, knowing that we can't suppress our emotions. And that's why getting to the emotion point is crucial for healing. Healing won't happen until we actually connect with our emotions.
Right. So when you were talking about Casper, like your client that said that they wanted to run and Casper just started running around them and took off, would you say that that was kind of their breakthrough moment? Or, I mean, what was your client's reaction?
Oh yes, oh, definitely, because she stopped sharp. She said, with the gesture, like, don't tell me this horse just, is he telling me to run? Is he telling me to? Oh, absolutely. She was stunned. And then, when we, a little bit of recap, she was, so validated
Hmm.
in what she was feeling was her truth, the right thing for her.
Wow. Yeah, that's got to be an amazing experience. I can just imagine that. Even like your client was, like you said, she needed sleep, and to have a horse just lay down and start
Oh,
snoring.
oh, that was, and you can't but feel totally taken in. Uh, and there is that moment of incredulity,
Yeah.
I will say, and at the same time, it resonates so vividly. So it's at the same time incredulous and so totally highly believable because deep inside, this is what people know is true for them. And this is why the horse is doing it, because the horse is picking on it and the person is refusing it to themselves. Like, no, 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 we go to what's rational.
Right.
Mind, but the body is speaking loud and clear. And this is what horses pick on because, again, they can't relate to what's going on in our minds. So, whenever the body is speaking, it's true, it resonates.
Yeah, and that's a lesson in itself.
Yes,
Stop
yes,
listening.
yes, yes,
Stop
absolutely.
listening to what's up here and listen to what your body's trying to tell you. Can you think of a particularly challenging situation that you might have encountered with a client and how you navigated that with them and the horses?
Oh, yeah, I would say that situations are often challenging because people um, often show up with resistance. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but because the resistance comes from the fact that we believe what our minds are telling us. So sometimes, indeed, it takes some, um, you know, really navigating. So always staying present with what's coming up for the person. But for me, it's really about finding um, what will connect them to their body, to their emotion. Um, and I'm actually not getting to one specific example because I feel that um, it's often the case. But at the same time, it typically doesn't take long for people to connect to their emotions. The moment I have them feel into their body,
Mm-hmm.
uh, something is happening there. And it's very rare that within the first 5 minutes, there's no tears. Typically, there are tears.
Right. So you
It's
think
that
so it's
beautiful
just with the
release.
horses, the whole connection, the whole thing just it's kind of hard to explain, but seems to help
Yes,
them
yes,
help
yes.
them connect.
Yes, indeed, because it's experiential. I'm doing my best to try and put words to it by giving examples, um, and so it also takes for me to be pretty direct and to connect people to their pain because it's very normal, we do anything we can to avoid the pain. We look away, we repress it, we pretend it's not there. But the moment you ask people to connect to their emotions, and um, I would be happy for the people who are listening to us, if they want to contact me, tell me that they've been, watching your program, and I'll send them my PDF, which is a step-by-step guide on how to go within and connect with what's happening for you in your body, even without a horse. So, of course, the horse is the validation because
Right.
we can so easily fool ourselves into thinking, we've done it and no, there's nothing there. The horse will not let you get away with it. But
It's like
it
your own lie
takes.
detector.
Yes, yeah, but it's so funny that you're saying that, Laura, because in our world of equine Gestalt coaching, we call them our big equine detectors, you know.
Yeah.
So, yes, 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 absolutely.
What advice would you give to someone that's considering equine gestalt coaching for the first time?
So, I would tell them, um, and I'd be very happy to send them a little video also to guide them, to go within, to check with themselves if they're ready for the work. Because it turns out to be that us human beings, we are really good at being full of good intentions. And then when the time comes to take action, like we saw earlier, actually, we find all sorts of good excuses to not take the step. So I'd be happy, for them to watch that little guidance that I have and check if they're really committed to the work. And then if they find it a little scary, or whatever, several things, I have a bunch of little videos on my website that can guide them. I'm also inviting them to
And you
talk
have a
with me.
YouTube channel, right? You have a
Oh,
YouTube channel
yes,
too
yes.
with all
My
your
YouTube
videos too.
channel is. You're very, very kind, Laura, to call it a YouTube channel. I would say it's a draft.
You got to start somewhere, but you got your videos up there too.
Yes, they are up there too.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I am also always happy. I offer a 15-minute Zoom or phone. So again, yeah, the horse is not going to be there, but um, a little time where we can connect, for you to ask all the questions you want to ask, and um, get my guidance, if that can help you to first connect. And really what I would say is, give that gift to yourself. Take the chance. If you've been feeling that you're not listening to your inner voice, that you're disconnected from your true self, you're overwhelmed, you're feeling helpless or stuck,
Yeah,
give give yourself that chance. You're going to be in a non-judgmental, safe place. What do you have to lose? You have everything to gain,
oh,
to take
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
reins of your own life, to get the life you deserve. Deep inside, you know it.
absolutely. And so if they want to work with you with the horses, obviously they would have to come to Colorado because that's where you are, is in Colorado. But you do work with people as well, right? You said over you can work. You also work with people through Zoom.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I would first say, even if you're not in Colorado, that's your chance. Take a little trip to Colorado. It's just so beautiful. I can point several destinations for you to visit while you're here. And otherwise, indeed, sometimes the distance is such that um, it is a challenge, and we can indeed work together over Zoom. So the horses will not be with us.
Mhm.
But as I was saying, Gestalt is an extremely powerful modality, and the results we get from working together over Zoom are just stupendous.
Yeah.
So we have that possibility, and we can do a combo if you're able to. We could do one session with the horse, 4 sessions over Zoom, another session with the horse. Um, we can combine, we can mismatch, we can tailor to what you need.
That's nice. Yeah, because I know a couple of people now, or a few people I should say now, that does equine gestalt, but a lot of people have not even heard of that modality. So, do you have any idea of even how widespread that is yet, or?
Well, um, maybe my little cocoon here in Colorado is special, but there are a number of equine assisted modalities, not necessarily Gestalt. So it's a different way of proceeding.
Mhm.
So in my part of Colorado, it's relatively known. People typically tell me, "Oh yeah, I know someone who does," and um, so it's not necessarily, again, the same thing, but still they partner with horses. So um, it depends, and yes, also I have also met people who told me that they had never heard of such a thing. So my really my hope and my belief, it's more of a belief that this is going to gain more and more recognition, because the results are astounding. When I hear the feedback that my clients have for me, there is no uh, you know, doubting it, or there's no going back for them.
Right.
They leave the sessions feeling equipped. They know that It doesn't mean that life is just going to be, things are going to happen. Of course, it's
Right.
inherent to our human life, but they know they're equipped. They know they have the tools. They know they can reach out again should they need it. And I have
But
some
they really
people
gain their power.
oh,
They really
yes.
gain their inner power, their inner voice back instead of, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the last thing that Gestalt would want to do is to keep somebody dependent. So it's unheard of. Somebody who stays in Gestalt or in Equine Gestalt coaching for years, that
Right.
is unheard of. It's typically a matter of several sessions. I like 6 sessions. I find that after 6 sessions, people really have really embodied what it is to function in a different way. So they don't revert to the old ways. And if something happens, they know to catch themselves. They know to redirect the course, and they know to reach out if need be. And checking in, yes, definitely, we do that. We do check-ins. But it's not, the person doesn't at all feel like they can't function
Right.
if they're not in a session, um, or if they don't have access to me. They totally unlock their own resourcefulness, their own answers to their own questions. I'm not here delivering some sort of universal truth to them. It's really them finding their own truth. And that's really key to the process,
Yeah.
because we're all unique and we are all resourceful. And typically, when we're stuck in a situation, what comes out is that it's our lack of resourcefulness, because we think we can't. We've been conditioned to think a certain way, to act a certain way. And once we start working this way, being connected to who we are, listening to that inner voice, uh, that's when we tap fully into our inner power, and we realize that we are resourceful beyond measure, that there is nothing that we don't have an answer for.
Yeah. It, like I said, I think you wrapped it up very well in one word. It's experiential. It's experiential. It's individualized for the individual. And that's kind of, yeah, something that's the best way to put it, I think. Because like you said, it's so hard sometimes, some of it, to even put into words, because it's just the experience. And sometimes not all of us are like great with words either, but just to see that and the feeling has got to be powerful.
Yes, and it's really key to it, because the transformation is really at a deep level. It's not some intellectual concept that you need to grasp that's going to give you an intellectual satisfaction for a while, because our brains love puzzles, so, oh yeah, I understand, if I do this, then that happens. But it's purely in the brain. No, it's the opposite of that. It's
Yeah.
in you. You've become it.
Yeah. We have a few minutes left. So looking ahead, what changes or advancements do you hope to see in the field of equine gestalt coaching in the coming years?
Indeed, that it becomes widespread, that it stops being this woo thing. A lot of people think it's out there. And mind you, as far as I'm concerned, I love the thought that it would be out there, but it really is not. It really isn't. There is all this science behind it. And, I think it's, I hope, I feel, I believe that as human beings, we are in the process of changing, evolving. We're becoming more and more aware that, because we have all this fancy technology that we can be thankful for, doesn't mean that we are technology ourselves. We really have a body, So I think there is, or maybe again, it's because I live in my little bubble here near Boulder, Colorado, but a return to the source, a return to who we are. What is it to be a human being? That we're not just brains on legs, that our bodies really have something to say, and that we are not a body, a mind, a spirit for some, for others, it's not even there. But
Right.
it is that whole connection. And this is what working with an equine gestalt coach brings you. It's the sense of coming back to yourself and finding that connection, finding the harmony.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank you so much for sharing all of this with everybody and taking the time to do all of that. It's beautiful work. It really is.
Oh, it really is. And
Absolutely.
I'm the one who really wants to thank you, Laura, for having me here and giving me a chance to share what I am so passionate about, which is see people really become who they are meant to be.
Yeah. I know I've had the chance to spend a day with you one time with your horses, and I would highly recommend it for anybody. I mean, it's an experience. We didn't do the whole therapy and stuff. We were just visiting, but it's just such a beautiful setting and stuff you have, and they're such amazing animals. So I
Oh, they
really,
really are. Yes. So, you were asking me what would I recommend for people who are considering it, and
mhm.
um, is to yes, come on over, just even if it's just to learn, or feel what it feels to be in the presence of a horse, because that's when you discover the full meaning of being present. Horses are fully there. You know how you can be with someone and you really don't feel that they're there.
Mhm.
Their eyes are darting everywhere, they're already gone. Um, with a horse, you get to feel, fully experience what it is to be in the present moment. Because we hear that a lot, right? Be
Oh
in the
yeah.
present moment. It's really something that um, it's part of what we live these days. Yes, mindfulness, etc. But who has really felt it, really experienced it?
Yeah.
And the
And those are
best
the
way.
people that have no problem with the woo woo term. I know everybody keeps calling it woo woo. And I'm like, you know what? There's a lot to be said for woo woo. I got news for you.
Yes, 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 yes. I love that you're saying that.
Yeah. I mean, you have science behind it. Yes. But, like you said, we don't need to understand everything or how it works. If it works and it makes you feel better, why not?
Oh, I'm right there with you, Laura. I am right there with you. Again, we're wired differently. For some
Yep.
people, it's really important to have the science, the facts, and I totally respect that because we all function in a different way.
Yeah.
Um, Really, what matters to me is for every one of us to give oneself that chance to open up the mind a little bit and see if you're willing to give it a chance to experience something other than what you are accustomed to going through on.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for all the wonderful information. And I would highly recommend anyone, if you have never experienced it, you have questions, reach out to Elisabeth, go to her website, watch her YouTube channel. As you can see, she is happy to connect and help put your mind at ease, or make a trip to Colorado and go see her. Either way, it's it's an
Either
experience
way.
you wouldn't regret. So definitely reach out to her. Thank you, Elisabeth, for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Laura.
And everybody, we will see you next week. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.